it's not. Alright, so how did all these continents form? So much formation going on in the beginning of Earth. So how did the crust form? Well, there's also hypotheses about this. Remember, there can't be facts because we can't travel back in time and say, aha, I saw the crust forming and this is how it happened. We can't do that. All we can do is gather evidence to support hypothesis. When we gather enough evidence, then we can start to say that we have theories, because there's so much evidence supporting that hypothesis that it becomes a theory, like the Big Bang Theory. Otherwise, we have hypothesis. So geologists hypothesize that Earth's crust formed as a result of the cooling of the upper mantle. So as that mantle began to cool, it actually formed the upper crust. Approximately 2 billion years ago, small pieces of continental crust collided and fused together, forming supercontinents. The most well-known supercontinent is Pangaea. So today we have 6 different continents, 7 different oceans. Back when the Earth was forming, there was one supercontinent. Today, slabs of crust move, collide, and subduct due to the cycling mantle below it. So what formed are what we call tectonic plates, and those tectonic plates are constantly under pressure, and when the pressure becomes too great, those tectonic plates move, and we feel that movement as earthquakes. And that movement is actually moving our continents. Moves them, creating new positions. So, for instance, Point Reyes, that's out in West Marin, that's actually not part of West Marin. If you ever go hiking out in Point Reyes and you look at a cliff, you'll notice that it's a lot of limestone. Marin County doesn't have limestone. We have clay. So where did all that limestone come from? Well, it came from Southern California. So Point Reyes is actually from Southern California. And one day, in billions of years, Point Reyes will be all the way up in Seattle, because it's on a tectonic plate, and that tectonic plate, the friction is moving north. So one day Point Reyes won't be a part of California anymore. Alright, so that's our continents. What about our oceans? Oceans weren't here when Earth first formed, so how did they get here? Well, there are also some hypotheses about possible sources of water. One of them is an outgassing of water vapor from volcanoes. That water vapor condensed to form liquid water. So when a volcano explodes, all sorts of different things come out of it. Gases come out of it. Ash comes out of it. Well, some of the gases that come out of volcanoes contain the element oxygen and also hydrogen. When hydrogen and oxygen fuse together under the right conditions, they form water. So we think the outgassing of volcanoes is one possible source of water. We also think that ice comets may have landed and melted to form water. However, scientists hypothesize that any water coming from ice comets was minuscule compared to the outgassing of volcanoes. It's believed that there were lots and lots of volcanoes when Earth first formed, and these volcanoes were constantly erupting and outgassing, and that's really what gave us our significant source of water. All of the water that we have today is all of the water that has ever been here. Since the oceans first formed, there hasn't been any new water added to planet Earth. This is why it's so very important to take care of our water, to recycle our water, to be resourceful with our water, and to use only what we need. Because all of the water that has ever been here is all of the water that will ever be here. Okay, so we have continents, we have oceans, but we need an atmosphere, right? If life is going to exist, life needs oxygen. It needs water to drink. It needs land to stand on. But it also needs oxygen. needs something to breathe. So Earth's early atmosphere was nothing like what we know it today. It actually contained a lot of noxious gases, hydrogen, helium, methane, ammonia, things that we can't breathe, things that would make us very, very sick and cause us to die if we breathed them. So again, outgassing from volcanoes produces this water vapor. It also produces carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and carbon monoxide. All elements found in today's atmosphere. In fact, today's atmosphere is 71% nitrogen. So Earth's early atmosphere, it didn't contain any oxygen. Look at that. We have water vapor, we have carbon dioxide, we have nitrogen, carbon monoxide, but there's no oxygen. Life as we know it, most life as we know it, can't exist without oxygen. There is some life on planet Earth that exists without oxygen, but the majority of life needs oxygen, and that oxygen wasn't present when Earth first formed. So where did it come from? Here's a picture of a geyser. As you can see, it's sort of replicating that idea of outgassing. All right, so we need some oxygen. Billions and billions of years ago, the first life forms on Earth are what are known as cyanobacteria. They're a bacteria that's sort of like an algae. And when they get together in colonies, it's called stromatolites. Large mounds of stromatolites dominated the shallow oceans of early Earth. As these algae, as these bacteria began to photosynthesize, they were producing enough oxygen to change the composition of Earth's early atmosphere. How do we know that this happened? Well, iron, which we know is present when Earth first formed, oxidizes when it's exposed to oxygen. It actually turns red. And we can see in some sedimentary rock evidence of iron oxidating, which indicates that oxygen was plentiful in Earth's atmosphere by about 1.8 billion years ago. These rocks are what are referred to as red beds. So this photo is showing a microscopic image of cyanobacteria, what cyanobacteria looks like. And you can see the green, so it has chlorophyll, so it is actually photosynthesized. This image is of the red beds. So those red lines, that's actually iron that has been exposed to oxygen. So iron that is oxidating. So this iron, these red beds that you see here are about 2.1 billion years old. Okay, so significant sources of oxygen in the atmosphere. Why do we need it? Well, animals need to respire. So every time you breathe, you're breathing out carbon dioxide and you're breathing in oxygen. You cannot survive without oxygen. Humans cannot survive without oxygen. It also forms our ozone layer in the atmosphere, which protects against UV radiation from the sun. So Earth is constantly being bombarded by UV radiation from the sun, and that UV radiation can be harmful to humans in large doses. It can cause skin cancer. So our ozone layer is what protects us from getting too much UV radiation. So that is our first lecture. Thank you very much.